Oh, hello. Earlier today we were given the complete patch notes containing the changes for the monk job that, I predict, will pave the way for a substantial refinement process come the next expansion. Spoiler, this is turning out to be a very good thing indeed. Instead of going over my wish list for the 100th time though, I wanted to spend some more time laying out the changes we have now. I spent some time on stream earlier today with Sam, or Coswell, to make sure that I was understanding everything correctly so that I could share everything properly with you now. Now, many of you who follow the channel have told me through comments or chat that you are either relatively new to the game or you haven't been leveling Monk until these changes were rolled out. Because of this, I will be giving an overview of what Monk was to hopefully give proper context for the changes themselves. After that, I will go over the changes that are happening and my thoughts on them. Hopefully I will remember to put the timestamps in the description so you can skip ahead if you want to. But anyway, to start, Monk is a melee DPS job. The previous mechanic or gimmick it focused on was building and maintaining stacks of Greased Lightning. You would gain a stack of Greased Lightning by using a global weapon skill while having the proper form buff on you through executing your combo rotation or from special abilities like Form Shift or Perfect Balance. Each stack of Greased Lightning would give you a percentage increase in damage dealt and your attack speed, capping at 3 stacks while in Fist of Fire and 4 stacks if you were in Fists of Wind. Fists of Fire and Wind being 2 different stances that you can be in. The gameplay of Monk would center around making sure you maintained full stacks of Greased Lightning to The gameplay of Monk would basically center around making sure that you were maintaining full stacks of Greased Lightning to optimize your damage. The other goal of Monk was to manage a resource called Chakra to execute certain off-global attacks. As it so happens, Greased Lightning and Chakra are going to be the 2 main focal points of the current changes going on right now. If you need any further details on the abilities I talked about, the job guide on the Final Fantasy XIV website will give you all the information you need, but I don't want to spend too much time going into a full-blown Monk guide at the moment. So, for what has changed, Greased Lightning has finally been made a trait. The way Monk has been designed lately made losing stacks an inconvenience, sure, but a very minor one, since getting them back became easier and easier and easier the further we got into expansions. I mean, at one point in Stormblood, it was even more optimal damage-wise to completely dump your stacks with Tornado Kick mid-rotation because you could almost immediately restore them. If you guys have been watching any of my videos about Monk at all, you know that I've been of the mindset of moving this to a trait for a long time because of this. To hopefully make room for the dev team to focus on things that are a little bit more interesting, like Chakra. So now we're full speed all the time. Yes! And our global weapon skills, base, and combo potencies have been increased across the board to make up for the fact that Greased Lightning no longer has damage built in. I'm guessing that was more of a balance thing to not just have the damage baked in all the time, but one way or the other I'm pretty fine with it, kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Tornado Kick is now just a 45-second cooldown attack, which isn't bad considering we'll get to see it more often than like once a fight, maybe twice if we were lucky. 6-sided Star is still meh. I would have really preferred it if they moved it to an off-global as well, so you wouldn't have to wait on globals to be back up to use it, but we're going so fast already, it might honestly be a non-issue. It's always been more of a disengage ability, but it's more like an elusive jump type thing just with damage and movement speed instead of displacing you further back. So you'll just have to hope that you can plan out when you need it rather than reacting on the fly. Again, probably not a huge deal, it's just what it is. I'm still totally fine with it putting your global cooldowns on a longer timer to justify the high potency. I would prefer like a little teleport backwards if we were going to have something to get away from the boss. I don't know, I'm a Dragon Ball Z anime nerd. That's just what I want, so it's fine though. It's just not something that I'm jumping for joy at. What I am jumping for joy at, what I am super excited about, the biggie, the one, the Deep Meditation at maximum trait level, which is 2, now has a 100% chance to give you a Chakra stack. 100%. This is on top of Brotherhood changes that now give a universal 5% damage increase to all party members and gives all party members the chance to give you Chakra through weapon skills and spells now. This is massive. This is incredible. Now obviously Forbidden Chakra's potency was reduced because of this, but I mean that's only natural because we're going to be getting it all the time and it is one of 2 chakra abilities we have, unless I'm missing something completely. My brain isn't working, but we have the AoE one with Enlightenment and Forbidden Chakra. That's about it. So hopefully we get more in the future, but right now it's understandable that since it's the only one going to be spammed all the time, they have to balance it. So that's how I'm framing this one. I don't think this is a Forbidden Chakra nerf. It's more of a balance change. But yeah, that is a price I'm more than willing to pay for this change here. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I believe people have been theory crafting Monk to have an overall decrease to their personal DPS, but also an increase to their raid DPS. So they're going to be more team players than just, selfish DPS as they used to be. That's still the trophy is held by Samurai right now. So, but Monk is really bringing it in with how useful they are in a party setting. For anybody unfamiliar between the differences of personal DPS and raid DPS, personal DPS is basically the damage you can deal by yourself from your own character, and raid DPS is how much damage you add to your party members' damage. So other examples of raid DPS abilities are Trick Attack, Chain Stratagem, and on a smaller scale, like Dance Partner. Basically, you're giving a buff to your party members or a debuff to the enemy that allows you to do more damage to it, and it affects everybody, not just yourself. So moving on. They weren't really able to dish out anything really mechanically interesting with the changes to Chakra, but it does seem that these changes are moving in that direction, so I'm very hopeful with what we're going to get in the expansion. Now, I do empathize with people who Grease Lightning was the only interesting thing Monk had, but in my personal opinion, if Grease Lightning is the most interesting thing that Monk had, Monk wasn't interesting, and it needed to be axed in order for something else to take its place. So I'm hoping that Chakra will become a system in the future, whether it becomes another gauge system or something else entirely, something new and unique. That's fine. Grease Lightning wasn't doing it anymore. Now I think we're moving in the right direction. We're not getting a full rework. Obviously, that is a lot to ask mid-expansion, and we're about to come up to an expansion, so reworking the entire thing just to have things tweaked again, as they usually do for expansion changes, I think is just a little bit too much to ask. I was hopeful because they've surprised me before. The Final Fantasy XIV development team has gone above and beyond before, so I didn't put it past them, but I'm also not really disappointed that we didn't get everything right away. So here's hoping that they continue to listen to the community, and we can continue moving this design forward to something really special. Now for the honorary mentions of these changes. Perfect Balance got a change. 6 stacks for 15 seconds with essentially the same effect. I'm not sure why they kept a time limit on it if they gave it stacks. I don't really see it being optimal to sit on stacks because that means you're not able to use any of your global weapon skills. But yeah, I don't know. It's more of a design question than a complaint though. So you have more time than you did before to get it out. So Riddle of Earth still gives damage reduction, but now you don't have to actually take damage to proc the effects of Earth's Reply, which would basically be giving you True North. So now you have 3 extra charges of True North. That's it. I mean, this is fine, but they honestly could have just gotten rid of the entire ability, and I would barely bat an eye at it. It's a quality of life thing, sure, but just barely. To put that in perspective, even when I was using Earth's Reply in 24-man raids or in normal raids when I would take Monk anywhere else, I was still doing positionals just out of habit. So it's nice that it's more on demand now, and it essentially gives us 3 positional free global attacks if you time it properly. But yeah, I'm neutral on this one. And finally, we have Anatman. Such a cool looking ability with a very bland use. It keeps up Snake buff now, so I'm sure Tate's viewers will be especially happy about it. But the fact that it increases your form duration seems pointless to me given form shifts changes. I'd have liked it if they also allowed Chakra to slowly refill over the duration, so we don't have to hit it after spamming Meditate already. And honestly, Meditate could use a few tweaks too, but I mean, it's fine. At least you don't have to worry about Servitic weaving it into your opener now, but that change came with Grease Lightning, not this. That's really it. Not every change was a banger, but I am absolutely throbbing at the idea of more Greased Lightning stacks and more chakra. This is a great change overall to Monk, and it is starting to see some actual hope of having a real solidly designed identity rather than having to be pulled between these two concepts of Greased Lightning and chakra. Now we can just focus on chakra, it seems, and that is opens up a whole lot of more opportunities than I think a lot of people realize. You would have them have to design certain abilities around Greased Lightning, or making Greased Lightning easier to maintain, or making Greased Lightning easier to get back, or making Greased Lightning give it more Greased Lightning, basically, with the Riddle of Wind changes that we got in Shadowbringers. And now all future abilities can just focus on chakra, building chakra, using chakra, some diversity, some really cool effects that we haven't been able to see yet. So Greased Lightning and chakra never really complemented each other, they just kind of coexisted. So I would say this sets up Monk for a Shadowbringers Machinist level rework in the coming expansion, but we're honestly going to have to wait to see. And to answer all of your questions, I should have just let you ask in the comments to feed the algorithm, but yes, I am going back to Monkey for this raid tier. So you'll be seeing me playing on Monk, Choco's going on Tank, and Tate will be going to Caster, I believe. And then we'll have Whoops joining us in the healer spot, while Jesse has quit Final Fantasy XIV and will be playing WoW for now, until future notice. So that's that. Anyway, I hope this was informative for you guys. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. Me and the community will do our best to clarify and explain things to the best of our abilities. And that's it for now. I will see you guys in 5.4.